What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely weekend. And with that being said, let's dive into this update, guys. We got some important stuff to talk about. All right, so we're gonna kick it off here with the monthly time frame. And I just want to point out a condition that I'm seeing right now that literally does not pop up anytime when you're in the bull trend. All right, when you're like, going straight up, it doesn't pop up. All right, but when you switch on over to like, this is what validates the bear trend in my just not even my personal opinion. Just look at the chart. That's all I want to show you here. All right. You wrote it up here the whole time. You don't find resistance at the 20 moving averages on the monthly time frame. All right, this is going all the way back to 94. All right, you do not find resistance at the 20 monthly moving average. What do you find now? All right, you get underneath it. All right, I'm not saying you tapped it perfectly there, but you got underneath it. It looks like, hey, it didn't make it back up. There you go. You were off the races to the downside. Then you recovered it. Look, every time you're finding support on this 20 monthly moving average. Then what happens in 08? So that was the dot-com bubble. This is 08. You fell under. You're finding support. Let's just use our arrows, all right? You got support coming up, all right? Support. But guess what? You flipped it. All right, and you have your first red arrow. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, now what do we have? We have the same exact thing happening up here. All right, so let's just come over here. All right, and you're finding support. I understand you lost it. All right, you lost here, but guess what? You didn't find resistance at it. You got right back up. All right, you did not find resistance. You actually did have that happen right here. Look, you have this one monthly candlestick finding resistance at it, and you pop back up. All right, so that was the exception. All right, but yeah, guess what, guys? We've now tested this thing twice, and we're on our second attempt at testing this moving average here. And let me just clean up that chart for you guys. Well, third attempt, actually, testing out this moving average, right? So let's just get rid of all of our arrows that we just made. There we go. All right, so getting that one out of the way, I'm just saying, guys, we do know the fundamental situation it's deteriorating. It's not good. The Fed is kind of in a tough spot where they have to keep grinding. They could continue this slow grind up with rates, but we also just got like a lot of hints that they will not be doing that much longer. If not, they will be, pausing at the next one. He did say, Jerome did come out swinging, saying pivot is completely off of the table. We cannot do a pivot. That is, I do believe, like, hey, they're not going to do a pivot. But I do think they're probably going to do a pause because they can't do a pivot. The pivot just suggests that, hey, we're in trouble. We've gone too far. Now the Fed knows we've gone too far. So not only is the bond market saying you've gone too far, you got this over here on the 2-year. All right, we could bring you up right there, bring you up. There, the Fed funds rate. I actually have it right here. No, I do. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's get rid of the percent right there. All right, every single time, guys, that you see that blue line cross the orange line, that is when you get your pause or pivot. That is just what has happened throughout history. And yeah, going all the way back to 89, I don't think now is going to be the exception. I really don't. As you see, like, hey, you hit it, you sort of dance around. I'm guessing this is where they started pausing, that's where that was on the table. Look, you paused. All right, you hit it, you paused. You see how, just see how you went flat right there when you hit it? You went flat, completely flat. Oh, what happened here? Boom, bop, bing, boop, pow. All right, bond market brings this to the federal funds rate. There you go. That is the bond market signaling to the Fed, hey, you've gone too far. You need to ease up. You're breaking the system. That is what's going down. You're breaking the system. All right. So I'm just saying we have, technically speaking, we have the bond market telling the Fed that they need to stop. All right, they got to either pause or pivot. I think they're screaming pivot, but pause or pivot. That is what you got to do. And now we have Jerome coming out, and Jerome likes to act like he's in charge. He's not in charge. The bond market's in charge. But now he is also saying, yeah, all right, we likely not pivot, but pause next time. All right, he didn't come out saying this, but you know what? I connect the dots, and yeah, there wasn't really too much bearish things in that FOMC, which is honestly why, guys, I do think, like, yeah, we're going to see shorts. Like, we're going to pretty much the move we're seeing go down right now. This is what, is the natural path for price, in my personal opinion. It was up. All right. We didn't have a catalyst to, like, all these puts are just sitting here. I know this on the monthly time frame, But all these puts were sitting here. You really think they're just going to pay out all these puts for absolutely no reason? There's no catalyst to squeeze the dealers. All right, it's like literally the dealers run the game. All right, they either get squoze or they do the squeeze, and the vast majority of the time they do the squeeze. And I'm talking like 90, we'll say 95 to 5. Those are your odds right there. The dealers are doing the squeezing. Those are Henry's mental odds right there. All right. And the only time they get squoze, it's not like the dealer will really just lose, all right? It's just they're not going to be making money. They have to flip short or like flip long in whatever case. In this case, it would be if the dealers were to get squoze, they have to flip short with alongside all that put open interest just so they're not losing on paying out these puts. That is why the dealers don't want to get squoze, guys. They don't make money doing this. It's just not how that works. And that is why we... You know, at least that's why I think, all right, we had the technical setup to go long over here. But, like, not only that, you had what I referred to as the trifecta, which was a reverse gamma squeeze, a short squeeze, and a technical long setup. Now, let's, you know, before I jump too far ahead of myself, let's go over these weekly charts. We're going to go over the daily charts, and then we'll talk about this. We'll talk about these lower time frames right there. Let's actually clear that up, though. All right, there we go. All right, so we do have a hangman candlestick on QQQ. We have the same hangman candlestick on SPY. People refer to this as a bearish reversal candlestick formation. All right, it's like a doji. All right, guys, it's 50-50. And actually, if you go on the patternsite.com, which is something I like to use, which let me just bring this up for you guys. All right, let me right here. All right, so I like to use the patternsite.com. You guys can literally, you know, you got the chart pattern visual index over here. All right, if you guys are, you know, new to the game and you want to, you know, level up, there you go. You also have the candlestick, yeah, you have the candlestick visual index right here. So you guys can also come over here. But if you come over here to the hangman candlestick, all right, it is actually right here. You're going to see it actually goes up. Oh, bullish continuation, 59% of the time. You see that, guys? Most of the media... All right, most of the people, the influencers that you see, you know, on Twitter, on YouTube, and I'm just saying, I don't see any of them referring to this candlestick as a continuation pattern or just a doji. I'm just saying, everyone thinks it's bearish. No, it just literally shows that there's indecision in the market. All right, so that is what's going on right now. All right, you know, it could be bearish. We could go down next week. All right, I'm gonna actually show you right now. All right, on the weekly time frame, SPX did have increasing sell volume, which does suggest the sellers are going to be getting their way next week. So that either comes with a gap down to start the week, all right, or it comes with a, you know, sellers take you under last week's low. It was all the way down here on SPY. That was all the way down here at, it was like 404, yeah, 44445, which if you guys are remembering, hey, what I was saying I was looking for is like, hey guys, if we're not going to be bouncing off of, like, we really did have a glorious long setup. Across the board, we had these setups, all right? So it's just like, you know, when all the factors are aligned here, or at least what I'm looking at, you know, it's a pretty probable setup, all right? And then you combine that with what I was saying with the trifecta, the other two parts of the trifecta, and you had a recipe for a sick, nasty squeeze, and I think that is what we just started seeing, all right? But yeah, like, guys, even on, like, even if we didn't start bouncing there, I was looking for you to probably come down to the 400. Maybe we still got it pulled up. Look at that. All right, SPY over here. We'll just show you. We got a put wall still. All right, guys. It's still just sitting there. And, you know, I just don't think, you know, I think they either trade you flat or they give you this blow off top style move. Okay, I'm going to show you guys. We got that going on Apple. All right, but yeah, I mean, I think they give you that kind of move, this jaw-dropping move that I've been speaking of, to literally just shake out all of these puts. This is ridiculous. You see the volume? Guys, not even close to the open interest. So you know, either people loaded up or like barely any of them got shaken out, all right? I'm not saying they are going to be shaken out, but I mean, these are worth $140 at this point, all right? Maybe these people are just going to hold them until they go to zero. But you know, people can only take so much, and you know, I mean, these could just be hedges, and yes, they could just go to zero, all right? But I'm still going to say right now, all right, you get into this 400 strike, and dealer has to hedge. Dealer gets squoze, and, you know, you now have a reverse. You have a gamma squeeze going on. Actually, I don't. Yeah, I guess what I was saying, what's going on right now to the upside, that is the reverse gamma squeeze, because the dealers are unhedging, causing just more buying pressure on the thing because they're unhedging for puts. But what we got going on over here, if we were to start moving down to 400 and you don't get your bounce, say you start getting, let's just say dealers start losing and you go to 398, 397, guys, that's when you start having all of these puts get hedged for, and it's going to be real bad. You have a recipe for disaster on your hands, and that's the type of move that you need a catalyst to do. All right, the dealer is not just going to do this by default. All right, they're going to do everything they can to shake this. You see this 138,000 right here? All right, you start moving past here, all right, and they don't hold the line here. The put wall gets its way, and it's not like they break the wall there. I'm serious, guys. That's when you have a gamma squeeze to the downside, and that is when, like, hey, very quickly, you're going to start seeing 395, 390. All right, 385 is a big one. 380 is a big one. All right, all of these are just, you know, these are going to be hit pretty quick. And we come back over to the charts. All right, and guess what, guys? That was only for the May OPEX. All right, just June OPEX. It's, I think he got even more puts. Ridiculous. All right, if not around the same amount of puts, which is, again, ridiculous. All right, you can come over. I actually didn't even show you the call side. I just realized. Come over to the call side. All right, let's just wait for Mr. Webull to pop up right there. It's going to pop up. There's going to be a loud noise, so I promise. Well, I don't promise, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a loud noise popping up. That usually happens when I open Webull. All right, come back over here. All right, let's just look at both. All right, come over here. All right, let's come over there. All right, open interest. You notice how, like, hey, yeah, 420. Guys, the call wall is freaking 40,000 open interest compared to the 138,000 open interest. Oh, there it is. But guess what? They didn't make the ding that time. There we go. All right. Oh, it was actually, I was wrong on that. I was looking at volume. All right. Call wall is actually, oh, it's even less, dude. Even less. 33,000. So this is what I'm saying, guys. Like, people are definitely more bearish than bullish right now. At least looking at the option chain. And now I'm not going to pull up the fear and greed index, but I did see it coming back down into neutral territory, and it was about to start entering fear. That's when I was like, that's when we were seeing VIX over here doing this. And we're going to talk about this a little. I want to stay on track here in this video. All right, get a little structure going in these weekly updates. That's what I was saying, right? I made an intraday video, and we were probably about right here. And I was saying, like, hey, guys, you're either going to see this thing break out of this range, and you're going to start this bear trap, all right? And not a bear trap on the VIX. It would be a bull trap on the VIX, but it would be a bear trap on the indices, all right? Right here, guys, Monday, March 13th, all right? You come over to SPY. This was literally your bottom, all right? Now, we're going to come back over to VIX, and I'm going to show you guys why, like, I knew that if we weren't crashing, we were very close to a bottom on the indices. And when you pair that up with, you know, the factors you're seeing on the indices suggesting bounce, there you go. All right, that's what I was going over, you know, a few minutes ago, guys. When you have like all these factors aligned, it creates a more probable setup. All right, it's just factors of confluence. Don't sit there just confirming your bias, right? I'm going to provide you guys with an unbiased review of the charts almost 6 days a week here, almost every day. So just know, like, hey, if you struggle with that, all right, I got you. All right, I got you. Which I'm actually going to say right now, guys. All right, if you are, you know, if you're finding value in this, if you are subscribed to the channel, I do know over there's about 60% of you guys that continuously watch these videos that are returning subscribers. Please, if that is you, please show your support. I know you guys are finding value in the videos, and it really would put a smile on my face to see a crap ton of likes on these videos. We got up to 138 likes on the last one. I didn't expect that coming. I didn't see that, but I'm serious, guys. I mean, hey, yeah, you put a smile on my freaking face, all right? It also shows me that I'm doing something right and, you know, not just doing things wrong. So, hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. I promise. All right. I really do. I'm serious, guys. Like, we have built a solid community here. All right. This is our community. And I'm just like, there's got to be others on YouTube around and like across like platforms and stuff. All right. But this is ours. All right. And, you know, that's special. That is special. So, yeah, let's keep going and let's keep thriving, guys. Let's keep thriving. But yeah, over here, your RSI hit the same spot it did over here. Like literally you're like right underneath it. And intraday, you were actually above it. But this is right here. All right, guys. And you only went up 2 more days. And then guess where you stopped out? You stopped out, or you topped out over here at 70 on your RSI. And that's what I was saying. Unless you're going to crash, this is where VIX every single time tops out. All right, so like people say you can't do TA on the VIX. I'm going to say you're closed-minded. You haven't given it a shot yet. because I literally show people how you could do TA on the VIX. So like, there's that. All right. So just know, like, haters, you could clown on me all you want, but in reality, like, I know you just haven't done the DD. You're in early stages of trading, all right, / charting. And yeah, I mean, hey, if you want to claim to be that noob, be that noob, all right. But I know for a fact you do have TA working full effect over here on Mr. VIX, right? But yeah, all of these, we can actually load this line here. I think it was 69. I was saying, like, hey, you reached that. This is like where I'm calling it. All right. Yeah. Look at all of these times, guys. We'll just draw arrows. All right. All of these times when you reached here, some of these times you didn't reach it, but like you didn't spend a lot of time above it. You spent 1 day above that line. All right. So like, this is how I know, like, we are close. All right. You reach it here. All right. Look at this. You had one more like big spike and then you just started cooling off. All right. Over here, look, you had this spike, you cooled off, and boom, you had 3 more days up there, and then there you go, right? I'm guessing the market thought a market crash was going on. Market crash was not going on, all right? But, well, actually, it was. No, never mind. It was. But it wasn't the fear event, and that's what I'm getting at. Unless you have this, which is like an actual market crash, not just the slow, steady decline that we saw. Like what I just pointed out on VIX, that's just it going like this, all right? The crash, that's when, you know, when VIX's RSI spends time over 70, that's when this is happening. That's when this is happening. That's when probably this was happening. We could go back to 2008. We're not going to go back. We're not going to take the time to do so, all right? 2015, I know that was a big one too, all right? That's when this is happening. That's when the dot-com bubble burst is happening, all right? You know, VIX just isn't going to spend time above that level on the RSI unless that's happening. You can literally see every single time besides these big spikes, you do not spend a lot of time above there, or that is exactly where you're topping out. Look, 2018. So this was another one of the, like, this was a significant decline on the indices, and it wasn't a crash style fashion. Well, guess what? Look what VIX did. All right. You got here this day, you had one more massive spike. And even when you were getting a crash, you still didn't spend too much time up here. All right. So I'm just saying, guys, when everyone is loaded up on puts, loaded to the gills, and there's an extremely obvious move going down, on the indices, like a big sell going down, they're probably going to do a shakeout. They're probably not just going to give people their money. So like I was looking at this, like, hey, either VIX is going to get sucked back down into that trading range, all right, and maybe go fill that 1612 gap that was left open, or we're going to see the breakout and we're going to see this happen again. And you're going to see, yeah, you're probably going to go lower on the indices. We would have probably like, but like, here's also the thing, guys. We have the 400 put wall. We have what I just brought up. So like when you're assessing all these factors on the board, like straight up, now the picture becomes like a decent amount more clear. Okay, I'm not saying you know what's going to happen, but I'm saying, like, hey, you know that odds are definitely favoring that you move up from these levels. So I'm just trying to take you guys through, like, straight up. These are things that you guys can be doing. All right, and that really is the goal of this channel, guys. I'm just trying to continuously show you guys how the markets function, how the markets are moving, all right, the probable scenarios in the markets. And of course, my guarantee to you guys, my promise to you guys, that you are going to find insights on this channel that you guaranteed will not be finding and anywhere else across the interwebs, all right? Maybe you will, all right, but it's not going to be in a consolidated place. They're going to be random, all right, and they're not going to be consistent. And guess what? I think I proved my concept so far, and guess what? I will keep proving that concept. There we go. All right, the concept of consistency. I will be here. All right. Yeah, let's get back to talking about the daily charts, okay? Which actually we were on the weekly charts, and I skipped over to Mr. VIX. Gosh darn it! Told you guys I was trying to stay on track. I didn't stay on track, all right? But you know, we're still on the weekly charts, all right? You have the increasing sell volume. You have your CCI. So this is something I pointed out in the Webull update. You have your CCI coming down through your sell territory, and that was literally right here, all right? And then you started selling, so that was a thing, all right? And on top of that, we do have the stochastic crossing down. The last time that happened, that was literally that candlestick right here. The next week, it was a flat week. I'm guessing you had a volatile trading week that week, all right? And I know you did. But yeah, you come over here to QQ, you still have this bearish divergence popping up right here. All right, you have your stochastic and oversold territory or overbought territory, and your RSI is at the highest level it's been this whole time. All right, guys. So like, if you know, like we have, I'm not saying we have a recipe for disaster. I'm not saying that at all. All right. But I'm saying, like, if a catalyst, a black swan were to come, we do have the technical setup to support a significant move to the downside. And yeah, that's that, guys. As you guys do know, we do cross time frame technical analysis here, or cross time frame analysis, whatever you want to call it. All right, so it doesn't mean things we talk about in the weekly chart, they don't have to play out right now. All right, I want to make that extremely clear. We don't really spend too much time on the monthly charts. All right, but even the monthly charts, you do have your stochastic beginning to cross down. You have your CCI and RSI hinged flat. All right, and like I pointed out before, you do have a back test of the 20 moving average right here. Just turn off all the drawings there. You literally have that going on the Qs, and then you also have that on the SPX, which I think is the important one. You do not spend time under this thing on the SPX, even during your crash here, your quick flash crash. You got right back above it. All right, so like, I'm serious, guys. We're in, like, not only are we in a daily massive topping process, all right, that's very clear what they're doing here. All right, the fact that we haven't tanked back on this 20 daily moving average shows that, yeah, this time they're doing things differently than they've done at every single other occurrence of that condition. All right, right here, you back test. Oh, I have circles up. Look at that. Back test right there. You fell under. Back test right there. Back test right there. All right, yes, you got like 10 points above it, but very quickly you got sucked back down. All right, this is why I gave my warning when we first broke it. I was like, hey guys, all right, just know there's no reason to FOMO, because like every single occurrence here, if you didn't catch the initial sell there, which we ended up catching the initial sell there, and then we caught like literally all of these guys. We long here, short here, long here. All right, and I don't know what's going to load up next. I have absolutely no idea. All right, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get a pullback to start off the week just because of that insane move we just had, guys. I'm sure that's going to suck in a lot of people on the call side. People probably took like shorter dated expirations for this week. All right, and they're like, holy crap, it's happening, let me gamble. All right, and if that's the case, then, you know, dealers can see that, and yeah, maybe they start the week off with a move down. Like, you know, we'll talk about what I'll be watching. All right, after we finish up talking about the weekly and daily charts. All right, so moving on to the daily time frame here, you do have increasing buy volume here on QQQ. You do not over here on SPX and SPY, but you do on QQQ, which does suggest QQQ buyers are going to end up getting their way with either a gap up or a move above the high, guys. I'm going to remind you that not all the time this has to work, but I will say volume is one of my favorite indicators, just all around. Like, this is something that is just extremely consistent. I'm not going to say it works every single time, but it is one of those canary in the coal mines that I love having, because, you know, like, hey, all right, if let's just say this, all right, increasing sell volume right here, all right, yeah, it clearly didn't work out. All right, you had the trifecta going. That's what I was trying. I dedicated the whole Webull post. All right, the whole Webull post the other day was dedicated to the fact that we had the trifecta setup going on, and we had a setup for a squeeze. And that's why, like, you know, I was like, how are people telling me I'm wrong right now? I'm like bragging my butt off, because I got this one so ridiculously right alongside the last squeeze we had. And I'm like, holy crap, it happened again. It literally was the exact same setup. I called it, and it happened again. And then people messaged me saying I got this one wrong. And I was like, what? How did I get this one wrong at all? How did you read that in like 5 out of 6 paragraphs are me talking about the potential for upside here and saying that, like, even if we do go a little lower, it's going to be 400 to 401.60, because you have the put wall at 400 and you had 401.60 gap fill support, which obviously, guys, we never know what's going to be happening. We don't have crystal balls. That's a guarantee, but we can do our best to prepare and, you know, be ready to pull our triggers and know what we're watching for to pull said triggers. And that's what we prepare for here on the channel. That is what we do. All right. But yeah, guys, I mean, we started getting that move up. This does suggest it is going to be moving higher here. And I am going to say right here, all right, you do have your stochastic in, like, you know, it's hinging and crossing up off of oversold territory, right? So this does look like you have more room to the upside. It looks like exactly like what happened over here. See how you started with a gap down? All right, maybe that's the little pullback I speak of. All right, I'm just saying. All right, this move looks to be just starting, and now let's switch it on over to the 4-hour time frames. All right, and I'm going to show you guys that QQQ definitely has the potential here. I warned everyone. We had the trifecta setup. We have the reverse gamma squeeze, short squeeze, and the technical setup for a long. All right, and guess what? On all these other ones, it's ran more than it's done right now. All right, as of right now, I think we've ran $8 trough to peak. All right, nope, not $8. It's about $10. All right, let's just Make sure we have that accurate. Yeah, so about 10 bucks, all right? This last one right here, trough to peak, all right, you ran about 13 bucks. This last one right here, all right, let's just, I guess we'll look at right here. All right, this last one ran $19. All right, this one did not, but you were in that downtrend. We clear as day are not in that downtrend. And guess what? You still ran $15. All right, so like even with that, guys, 13 to 15 bucks, we still do have room to the upside here, even if we're just going to match these other moves, which, guys, I mean, the most comparable scenario to what we got right now is over here when everyone really wanted to short this thing. And they did exactly what everyone thought. Well, I mean, at least what I thought, like, at the time, guys, I didn't think it was, like, I knew it was possible. I just really thought the odds were so against it. I was like, nope, they're not going to do that. But that is something I've come to learn in the market, guys. They push the extremes almost each and every time, which is why you got to, like, I got, I actually did this yesterday. I put a bunch of sticky notes here on, right under my thing to just remind myself continuously of the 5 fundamental truths of trading and then the 7 principles of consistency. Let me just read these to you guys real quick, right? Because these are, you know, these are really good stuff. And let me actually look at these, all right? Mark Douglas, 5 rules of consistency. Oh, no, 5 fundamental truth. There it is, there it is. All right. Yeah, I know they had it. Okay, so the 5 fundamental truths of trading. Anything can happen. You don't need to know what is going to happen next to make money. 3, there's a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. 4, an edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. Every moment in the market is unique. 7 principles of consistency. 1, I objectively identify my edges. 2, I predefine the risk of every trade. 3, I completely accept the risk or I'm willing to let go of the trade. 4, I act on my edges without reservation or hesitation. 5, I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. 6, I continually monitor my susceptibility for making errors. 7, I understand the absolute necessity of these principles of consistent success and therefore I never violate them. All right, guys, I have violated them a few times over the past few weeks, and I'm just going to say right now, I'm going to say 4 out of 5 times have done so. It has resulted in either, you know, it was a loser before it was a winner. All right, like, you know, like the edge popped up later on in the day, and then you're like, you know, you pulled the trigger then, but in reality, you could have just waited. All right, and I've done this a few times over the past few weeks, but in reality, guys, I've been like really just pulling the triggers on my edges. Like the vast majority of, I mean, I've been doing all edges, but like the vast majority of any triggers I've been pulling, it's been off the edges. And like, guys, they pop up at the best possible spots. Like literally you had one there, you had one there, you had one there, you had one down here. All right, all of these, you know, I'm sure we had one popping up here, but that's what I'm saying. All right. Without that, you have nothing, all right? You are gambling, and that is a fact. There is nothing that's putting probabilities consistently in your favor, all right? So you're randomly throwing darts at the board. I just want to hammer that into everyone's minds, like straight up, you know? I'm just going to say, knowing that this is how the game works, this is the only way to win the game. Not even win the game. This is the only way to not let the game wreck you over time and to become that consistently profitable trader. There you go. All right, let's carry on, okay? Go over the economic calendar real quick. All right, we do have, you know, I know the important stuff. We got CPI coming on Wednesday. We have PPI coming 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. We do have a bunch of Fed speakers, so I just want to point that out. You have this also going on. I don't think it's going to be moving the market. Actually, you know what? You could say some things that could move the market. All right, and honestly, any of these things can. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen. All right, but typically, I like to follow technicals and don't really care about these things. The only catalysts that I pay attention to are the data drops, the ones that really do matter. And then, you know, Jerome's pals is his pressers, because as you saw the other day, that is, you know, there we go. Yeah, straight up, guys, like, you know, these are going to be the things moving the markets this week. I'm not saying they're going to be giving you a big gap up or gap down, but these are the only things that I think are capable, aside from technicals, of doing so. All right, so you got CPI 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got on Thursday, you have core PPI at the same time. I don't know where these things take us, but just know if you drop into these things, all right, maybe you rally off them. All right, if you rise into these things. Maybe they give you the drop or a pullback along the way of like a bullish trend or something. I don't know. All right. But I do think this is just the beginning of the move. I was making it pretty clear over here when I was recording my video on Friday. We were just about right up here into resistance. I was saying like, yeah, I'm looking for that pullback, but I do think this is the beginning of the move. The next point of resistance I was watching was this white box right here. All right. We did end up slamming our heads into that. All right. So let's now look at these oscillators in the 4-hour chart across the board. All right. And keep in mind, you're doing this as you're across the board on all of these names. You're running right into resistance. Okay. So QQQ, you have your 4-hour CCI hinging flat at oversold, overbought territory. You have your stochastic starting to hinge down. All right. And this is right at resistance. SPY right at resistance. Same exact thing, except, you know, you're not hinging down there. SPY did not, it wasn't explosive. It wasn't as explosive. I shouldn't say it wasn't explosive. It was. This is a $10 move. All right. This is pretty freaking explosive if you ask me, across like a day and a half. You know, that's sexy. All right. It was 2 days, I guess. Yeah. So there's that. But you come over here to ES. All right. Same exact thing. All right. You're coming in contact with the exact level that halted price over there, and clear as day. This is a reaction spot. All right. This is your psych level there. All right. You have your psych levels all around. All right. You have the one at 410. But what I noticed is it doesn't really give too much reactions. You got this over here. So I have kept this one up because, as you see, this is like, you know, like this is a point I brought up, or not a point, but something I said in my video on Friday. I don't know what the point of control is. I just keep like, I see people on Twitter, all right? So I see people on Twitter post these things. I don't know how that's calculated. I'm not going to put anything on the point of control, all right? I much rather watch support and resistance, okay, in my zones, so I know where the battles are taking place. Right here, there's a battle, all right? So that's going on right there. But again, it's the same thing. You have your 4-hour oscillators coming on up here, and I'm not saying they can't push on up, but I think you might get something like this where you get this pullback. All right, and this was like, you know, it's a percent move. All right, well, the 0.8% move from off the peak right there, not even 0.8%. I don't know. Okay, but you know, I see a pullback in the cards, but I fully acknowledge this thing does have fuel to keep going. And like I just pointed out on QQ, when we went $10, all right, the last time we got a move like this, all right, you went significantly higher. That was a $13 move, so that was $3 higher. Okay, we bring you to 326. All right. Then you have the last one that we really could point to is this, and it was a freaking $20 move or whatever. Or no, that was a $16, $17 move right there. And you got this over here. And this is, I wouldn't say we're comparable to this right here. I would say we're probably in this topping process part of this. All right. And then they're probably gonna, you know, they're gonna pull some tricks up here in this range. Eventually, guys, you know, they are gonna pull this trick. All right. And I did start the video off with showing you guys like, holy crap, we could actually have something right around the corner that could be pretty big. I'm not gonna be known as the guy that's being doom and gloomer. All right. I don't want to do that. All right. I'm not biased. I want to make money as we go. You know, I'll open up swing positions at ideal times, but I don't you know, I just want to sit here extracting my money from the market each week. That is my goal as of now. There's that. But yeah, all of these have came right up into resistance. NQ as well. I forgot to show that one right up here. And you have your stochastic begin to hinge down there, about to cross. You have this bad boy right here. And yeah, you can. All right, you could push on up one more time. All right. Well, you could like, yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, you can do something like this. But this was going into the end of the day. And you started the next day off with a pullback, it looks like. So, yeah, I'm just saying it is likely that you do get immediate rejection from this level, because if not, this is where shorts start getting squozed like pretty hard. This is where things can accelerate. This is where the jaw dropping move, like it could go from like, you know, just like your jaw is like slightly dropped and then like, boom, your jaw is just on the floor. All right. And you could see it start going absolutely insane. All right. We do have over here on QQ, all right, you clearly see the zone we got here, this range. All right, once you break up into it, you're in this range. All right, this is a massive range, 323 all the way to 332. It's a $9 move. All right, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we do have the squeeze fuel behind the move right now. All right, so it's definitely fuel is in the tank for that move. All right, and in my opinion, it's in the dealer's best interest to get you up as high as possible to squeeze people out. All right, but here's also the thing: they don't want to let people start loading up the open interest on puts. They don't want to do it. So I don't think. All right, this is 100% speculation. Everything I share on this channel is 100% speculation. But straight up, I don't think they're going to bring you to the August high. I just don't think that is in their best interest, because that is what, that's the next objective short entry. And look, it's right at the apex of this guy. Look at that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I just don't think that would be the case. And let's actually look. Do we see a wedge? I saw that in the Friday video. Let's see. Do we have one right here? All right. We could see a little one forming right there. All right. Maybe it's going something like that. We do continue on up. We get that, the $13 move we saw. I think, no, it was right here, right? Yeah, 13 bucks right there. All right. So maybe that would bring us on up to 326 something. All right. Then you get your pullback. Maybe you flip the current high. All right. And that would be a support and resistance flip, an SR flip, whatever you want to refer to it as, a hook and go. All right. That is what that would be. And you would be looking for something like that. All right. So I am looking for that pullback, but I fully acknowledge you can just keep going. But even if you keep going, I am going to be looking for at least a slight pullback. And if you break above this high, I would say it's natural for price to break up, probably find, maybe it is going to be at this trend line. I'm going to keep this on my chart. I'm going to keep it up just in case it does come into play. All right, you see it's right here. All right, you got this touch point, and you got these two down here. You have a wick, you got a candle right there. So we're going to keep it. All right, we're going to see how this goes. All right, but yeah, if you do start breaking above here, all right, I'm going to say you're probably going to pull back at some point, and this is where I'm going to be watching for buyers to step back in. Maybe that happens on a maybe you do this and into CPI. There's that, and then boom, you have a bullish surprise. I don't know. No idea. No crystal ball. That's why we do what we do here on the channel. All right. We just prepare. All right. There's that. And then, we need to know what we're watching. Then we get to get ready to pull our triggers. There you go. All right. And if you don't immediately, like by default, I'm looking for rejection up here. That's what I was saying in my video the other day. I was at least, or I think it was in the live, I was at least looking for sellers to try and hold the line here. That is, it doesn't have to be anything massive. It just could be something like this. And then you keep going. All right. Or those are my really two scenarios here. All right. You're going to come down here. You're going to have buyers step back in. You're going to have something like that. Unless this, obviously third scenario is like, hey, all right, this was the trap and they're about to do that. But guess what? If we do that, it's going to be the same scenario. All right. I'm looking for us to stay range bound. If I see another opportunity, we just come down here. Maybe we do break this. All right, we come back down here and maybe now we got a double bottom going, and then there you go. All right, maybe it's another dealer's trick. They're getting everyone to pile in on more shorts and they send it up again. I don't know. Keep in mind, guys, all right, like, a black swan can, flip it on the dealers. So they're the ones getting squoze. And that could happen at a moment's notice. All right, I told you the monthly and weekly charts, they do suggest that a black swan, it's probably coming, pretty soon. So just, be ready for anything. All right. Be ready for anything. Obviously, intraday action is intraday action. We could trade it on a daily basis, but like in reality, yeah, we are loading. All right. We're loading for a big sell. And yeah. All right. So let's move on. All right. I went over that. On QQ, guys, two scenarios. Technically, there's three, all right? But the third is, I'm going to tell you right now, the third scenario is we come down here. Four scenarios we got. One, black swan event tanks this thing. You get dealers getting squoze. Scenario number two, dealers decide to be devious. They break this, and they find support down here where you found support the other day. Any of these spots works, all right? But preferably right here at 316, all right? And if come down, you get the 314.94 gap fill, so that's another reaction spot for buyers to try and step up there, right? So one scenario, black swan tank. Two scenario, dealers take you down here, you see buyers step back in, boom, they take you back up to the top of the range. There's a tradable opportunity. You got to put opportunity here. You have a call opportunity here, and then we'll assess when we get back up here. All right, there's going to be that. All right, I'm going to pull the triggers when I see things pop up. All right, Discord will have that available to them. Over here, there's that. All right. So you got two scenarios there. Now, here's what I think is probable. All right. One of these. All right. You have this right here. You come down here, you come back test at 320, I think 320.27. Yeah. And then you're going to push on up, and this is where you start getting your squeeze. All right. And we're going to watch this to see if resistance comes here. All right. We're going to see if it is being respected. If it's not being respected, then what's the point of having the clutter on the chart? That's kind of why you see these lines on my chart, guys. These are the things that are being respected. These are the things causing reactions. Okay. There's been tons more on the chart over the past month or so. But guess what? It's continuously just come and gone because the chart's not respecting it. There's no reason for it. All right. So scenario number one, black swan. Scenario number two, dealers, you know, just fuckery there. All right, they bring you down to the bottom of the range, this new established range, and they bring you back up. Or they really, you know, Max Payne, they do this. But again, I'm going to be very weary of that move down. And I'm probably going to have my triggers being pulled down there, all right, at these different reaction spots just because, again, like, you know, dealers, we're in a topping process, all right? We do know the big sell's coming, but why are they going to pay off the puts without that black swan event forcing them to? It just doesn't make sense to me, all right? And scenario number 4, guys. You come up here, you break that early on this week, all right, or like pretty much right out the gates on Monday, all right, or you gap up, okay? And if you gap up, then you left the gap open. Guess where that gap is? It's right here at the previous high. You come, that would actually be the perfect scenario. That's so golden right now, all right? And I would definitely sell. I left one call open just in case, all right, because I do anticipate prices going higher, all right? I do think I'm going to get a chance to add longs on a pullback, but you know, I am going to wait for that opportunity to come to me. All right, because we are right at resistance, and I was trying to tell you guys, you don't get bullish right when you're pushing resistance. This is where you pull your triggers, you put triggers for quick gains to the downside, all right? Or, you know, very quickly you find out, like, hey, you went above here, you're starting to get a squeeze, you're going to get the pullback, and boom, you're probably going to get buyers stepping in on the gap fill. There's no gap fill yet, but there will be one on 323.63 if prices decide to gap up on Monday and come back to retest it. There you go. All right. You should have, well, not should, you likely get buyers stepping back in, holding the line there, and then they push you on up. All right. And that's when things get really explosive. All right. So yeah, those are my 4 scenarios on QQQ. All right. Let's take a look at, let's get rid of these arrows first. All right. Let me just do that. And then let me come on over to the hourly time frame. All right, the hourly time frame, we don't really have anything suggesting we are going to be cooling off yet. So that's why, like, hey, all right, that last scenario there, that's 100% on the table. You gapping up over this and then coming down and flipping it, that's 100% on the table, because what that move would do is it would bring this up here, and you probably have a bearish divergence on your hourly CCI and your RSI. And that would be your, you know, a signal that price is probably going to start cooling down, all right? And obviously, you know, all these time frames, you know, like you kind of develop a flow for, oh, you see something on the hourly, you see something on the 4 hour, right? It's going to take some time to play out. All right. That's just something you guys are going to have to pick up as you go. All right. The more time you spend with me here on the channel, all right, you'll probably pick these things up naturally. But that's that. All right. Look at that. Perfectly came right up to resistance. All right. That would have been a glorious short. Okay. I didn't pull the trigger on that one. I did not, but you did. You know, you had a setup. All right, it was there. But yeah, you come down to well, we're on the 15-minute time frame, all right? And all of these, you are down here, okay? So you are, I'm just saying, all right, you can easily bounce, all right? You can easily have that bounce, all right? The 4 hour CCI on all of these, we've seen it, okay? You have this little cool down, all right? And then you are back off the races, and it's doing that, all right? It's probably, yeah, it's the same over here. Look, you formed this, it was with bearish divergence, you started cooling off. Guess what? All right, these cool offs were just literally met at reaction spots with buying. Right here, look, this is 4150. There we go. All right. Yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. Let's talk about this, okay? Let's sum it all up. All right. Apple. All right, so we just went over the indices, but let's sum it all up. All right. What I really like, what I want this video, like, what are you guys going to be taking away from this video, right? Not only do you know what's, like, what to be watching for next week, but, like, what is the big picture we're seeing right here, all right? The midterm to long-term outlook, what is going on right now? We're getting a blow off top. Apple is 5% off highs right now. I think it's actually 4% off highs. 4% off highs right now, Apple is, all right? You come over here to Microsoft. Microsoft is, let's delete that. All right, Microsoft is doing the same thing. All right, it's not 4% off highs. I think it's 10% off highs yet. But we're not in an environment that supports this. Now, I'm also going to show you guys this. All right, so this is equal weight here. All right, so this is showing that this price action we're seeing, it is fake price action. Okay, and I'm not going to say it's like, you know, I don't want to call it fake because there's things moving it up. It's Apple, it's Microsoft. I think Amazon has been no, not Amazon, Meta. All right, you got Meta, you have Nvidia, you have all of these names. Just Andy's not really doing too much there. All right, but you have all these big names just literally hiking it up. Goog's not. All right, Goog's like doing the same thing as Amazon, just dancing down here. But you have Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia. You know, just those big names. I think there's like 10 of them. I don't know them off the top of my head. But yeah, the biggest one is Apple, and it's going through a blow off top. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is a blow off top. We're seeing it go aggressively up, straight up, just like we saw over here. And eventually, when there's no buyers left, because like in reality, who is going to be buying Apple at all-time highs when you are in a bear market and you know, like, even they are giving negative outlooks, all right? Like quarter after quarter, they keep giving these negative outlooks. I think we just got the second negative one, or if not the third, all right? So, like, you know, they did beat on, I don't think they beat on sales. I don't think it was that. I think they did beat on revenue this time around, though, all right? But straight up, you're coming to all-time highs. There's not really a bull case for this thing. And when you finally do have algos not buying, and, you know, like, I don't know who's buying this thing. I really don't, okay? It probably is just a bunch of institutions taking this as the safe bet, all right? And or it's just, hey, it's the dealers playing the tricks. They're hitting you with the blow off top because they're about to tank this thing, all right? And I think that's personally, that's what's happening, all right? I think they're rallying this up to get everyone in, and they're gonna tank this thing, all right? And I don't want to sound like a perma bear. Don't you dare let me sound like a perma bear, all right? But straight up, like, that is what is going on here, and there's really no ifs, ands, or buts. Nobody can give me an argument for why Apple is at all-time highs other than the safety trade. But what happens when it reaches all-time highs, if it does, all right? You really think people are going to be buying there? Let's be completely real. This was over here outside of the bear market. This was before fear flooded into the market and people knew about risk. You're approaching these levels, all right? So that is a real thing. All right, and this is literally showing you right here. This is showing you that without these things doing it, the market would not be having the moves it would be having. All right, it would be pretty lackluster, and take away those guys, and I'm sure there, you probably would have this thing actually falling off. All right, and again, you would have these things falling. But yeah, even on these things, you still do have, like, again, I don't know when these things are going to play out. For all I know, we could be pushing up on for one more week here, and we could come up and form a triple bearish divergence here on the weekly CCI. And that's when I'm going to say, hey guys, yeah, we're getting right up to the edge of this cliff, and it's going to happen. All right. It's going to happen. All right. People want to call this a bull market. I beg to differ. I know for a fact we're not in a bull market. All right. You don't even call it a bear market. All right. You just know there is no bull case to be made here. The Fed cannot go burr. They can't. All right. There's like 100% chance they cannot go burr. All right. Because in reality, all right, yes, recession is going to be the talk of the town. Recession is going to be, all right, what everyone's concerned about. All right, that's probably going to be what, you know, influences this market to tank. It's going to be the recession narrative that we were talking about months ago that just hasn't came around yet. Like, it's coming around. It's just, you know, the market is doing what it's doing. It's going to take time in these moves. It's going to push it to extremes. All right, something I found to learn. All right, so it's just, I kind of love it. I'm going to be honest. It's kind of beautiful. Friday's price action was the most beautiful thing I've seen in so long. Beautiful. Yeah, guys, all right, and we're approaching that cliff. I forgot what I was just saying. I know there was something I was just saying, but we're like, you know, there's really no argument to be made here. There's not. We could push on up to resistance here on the indices, but like, hey, you got the main guy. When this thing starts going, you're gonna have everything falling. That's what's gonna happen here. All right. Now we also have this over here on DXY. So this is my canary in the coal mine. I got a bunch of canaries in the coal mine. All right. Just know that that's what you're gonna find here on this channel. Look, you came up to it. All right. You got rejected from this broadening, potential broadening bottom formation. All right. You had the false breakout there. Came up there. All right. But on the weekly chart, what I'm going to be watching, all right, is a close outside of this trend line. Even on the daily chart, that's going to be significant to me. You haven't had that. All right. This was drawn on the daily chart, and you have not had a close outside of that trend line. You're getting to the apex of the triangle. You know, if we really bring it down, you have a lot longer to go. Look, that pushes into July. All right. But guess what, guys? You have a double bottom hidden right here. All right. And you actually do have a slight bullish divergence on the weekly time frame on the CCI and the R, well, not the RSI, but you have it on the CCI. So this hit 121.33 over there. This hit 121.90, negative 121.91 over here. All right. So you do have a slight bullish divergence, ever so slight, but it's there. All right. And I just want to point out, hey guys, this is literally what, you know, after you broke out from it last time in back tested, this is when you just were off the races on DXY, and it just killed equities all throughout 2022. So if that becomes the case again, Well, not if that becomes the case again. Like, this thing is likely to break out, and then that will be the case again. So, there's that. All right, just my thoughts on that one. All right, but yeah, moving on to SPY's 20 monthly moving average. All right, what we just went over. All right, so you have blow off top on Apple. You have what we just went over there on DXY, showing a potential breakout incoming, which means equities go down. All right, then you also have this going on over on the 20-month. 20-month moving average. This is not a condition that pops up. You do not want to spend time underneath this thing. If you lose it, you want to get above immediately. Now, we have been dancing around this thing. No, guys, we're in a topping process that looks to be what is exactly going down. And like, hey, if they're going to do this thing and make it go crazy, and then you really have a blow off top on the indices and not just Apple, then hey, I'm for it. All right. I just think it's extremely improbable with what we got going on right now. All right, you do have, a bunch of squeeze fuel out there, but yeah, do you see where Apple is? Like, what do you who's buying it at all-time highs? That's what I'm wondering. Who is buying it at all-time highs? All right, NVIDIA, I understand it's not all-time highs, but again, like, who's going to buy past the zone here where you got sellers stepping in last time? It's a 20% move that you're risking here for like a lot of downside. Who's going to be buying it? So like, I'm just saying, we are probably right around the corner from a big sell. That is a thing. All right. But yeah, Bitcoin. We're going to sum it up with Bitcoin. All right. That is where we will be closing out the video here today at 51 minutes. All right. It'll be like 50-something minutes by the time we're done with this. There we go. All right. Bitcoin does have its monthly stochastic crossing down here. Yes, it did break out from this bullish falling wedge, but on the weekly time frame, guys, we have the same exact condition, except like more of them popping up over here that we had over here at the top. The exact top, except you only spent like, this was like a few weeks you spent up here forming that topping process. You have massive divergence popping up here on the weekly CCI, as well as you, do you have one now? No, you don't have one on the RSI, but you do have the RSI hitting 70. That's literally what happened up here. Or not 70, but I think it was like 68 or 69. Look at over here. Yeah, 69.58. What did it hit over here? 68.82. So you're like, you got bad signs coming up here for Bitcoin, guys. We have market topping signs. We have, we have Apple topping signs. We have DXY bottoming signs. We have Bitcoin topping signs. The same conditions that we had when Bitcoin was at all-time highs is what we're faced with right now. All right. That is not what you want to be seeing. All right. Not what you want to be seeing. So what is the big picture when we combine all these things, guys? We have a big sell right around the corner. All right. I want to make that very clear in this video. But I also want to expose you guys to the possibilities that could be coming this week, which is why we went over those 4 scenarios over here on QQQ. All right. Probable scenario, guys. We continue to move up higher. All right. Any pullback will be met with buying. All right. Where will I be watching for the probable scenario to come into play? All right. We got 2 of them, guys. You come down here to 319. All right. Like, what is it? 319.30-ish. Yeah. 319.30-ish to 320.27. That is where I think buyers are likely to step up, or you're going to come down and you bounce off the bottom of this thing. All right. That's something I'm going to keep on the chart. All right. We're going to see if it gets respected. All right. If it is, it's something we can use to our advantage when we start coming back up. All right. And, we'll be looking for sellers there. We come down here. We'll be looking for buyers there. This is why we do it. All right. But yeah, that's number 1 probable scenario. Probable scenario number 2, you come up here, you find resistance somewhere. All right. I don't know where sellers are going to hop on. No crystal ball. All right. Because you're in this zone here. You have nothing. So I don't know. It could happen anywhere. But then you have buyers coming in at 323.63. That could happen in the form of a gap up, and then you come down and fill that gap, and that's where buyers, you have the 80% rule come into play, where, even if it's a temporary reversal, you get a reversal at these gap fills. All right. Or you do end up, just pushing out the gates. All right. And then, sometime they have that early morning, 9:30 to 10 o'clock bull trap. All right. And then they take you back down, and then sometime around like 12 o'clock, maybe 1, they find your bottom, and then they push you up on the rest of the day. All right. So that's, there you go. Those are my 2 probable scenarios over here on QQQ. All right. Obviously, like, I'm completely open to the other scenarios I spoke about. That black swan event, the one where you just tank, I think that is very improbable right now. But I do think it's around the corner. All right. I do. I think it probably happens after they do a big jaw dropping move. All right. As of right now, this is just the same move we've been seeing. These jaw, like, you know, this is just the squeeze. All right. Just wait until you get a jaw dropping move. That's when people finally panic sell. That's when, you know, the price is free to finally go down for price discovery, because you don't have freaking all of these shorts just like literally just every single chance. You're like, oh, I could cut my loss for a little less. Let me cover. Sends it back up. All right, so you just have so many, you have so much squeeze fuel out there that every single dip just gets met with a freaking squeeze back up. All right, you see, you're coming in and breaking structure here continuously, and you're continuously getting these squeezes too. That's the thing, all right? Like, yeah, it's dealer's tricks, but guys, the fact that you have these moves going, you could tell the options market is, it's leveraged, all right? Look, you broke out over here. Again, false breakout of the range. You came like boom, bop, bing, boop, pow. All right, false breakout over here. Well, not false breakout, but you came to the top of the range. And then again, you came all the way. Like, this is literally just showing you that, yeah, all right. Yes, it was in the dealer's best interest for that move. And that's what we spoke about when it was occurring. But you also had plenty of fuel for that move to go down, which is the only reason these moves are happening. So until that fuel's gone, there you go. This will probably be easy. All right. Which in reality, guys, trading is not easy. All right. Charting, guys, I will have a course coming out, and I will do my best to, you know, simplify charting for everyone, at least how I do it. And that'll be fun. All right, guys. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Everyone enjoy the rest of their weekend, and peace.